Greetings, YouTube. I have produced over 1,600 videos on my YouTube channel, most of those, of course, Marvel Contest of Champions related. And I have never really wanted to have a more important impact on an issue than this video right here. And this is 100% credit to the user Dak, who I have been messaging for days about a various amount of issues, but today specifically, I wanted him and his alliance, who have spent a great deal of time on the beta test server for the new Alliance War Seasons map, getting as much feedback as possible, excuse me, as much feedback as possible for your benefit. Been kind of talking about some pluses and minuses. Make no mistake about it, this is going to be a longer video than usual, but it's because I want it to be as detailed as possible. I'm just going to show you the conversation we had on the Line app, and then show you some of the video examples that he sent over. He spent a lot of time trying to meticulously show his alliance's top concerns in the game, and this is coming from somebody who plays in one of the top Alliance War tiers, so of course this feedback is crucial to remaining motivated to continue to want to fight, especially in a Master or Platinum Alliance tier. So we're going to look at these videos in a second, but first I just want to show you the feedback. New map layout, so you can see, if you want, I can make a video later going over all the nodes and global buffs. Okay, I believe I covered it all. So again, we'll look at those videos. If these maps go live as is, the game will die. His words, not mine. That might sound a little dramatic, but in terms of the motivation for Alliance War Seasons, I think he has hit the nail on the head. And we'll get into exactly why this is with all the screenshots and videos. You get to basically set up a perk package globally for each BG. We had 4 guys item out on a singular Dormammu. Wasn't even a boss node. Picture Safeguard rank 5 Medusa, who's indestructible and evades like Spidey. Now that sounds like the definition of my Marvel Contest of Champions nightmares. They have 1 for each global variation. There you go. Here I did a couple quick ones and threw one of them to show the villain aspect. We will show that fight in its entirety. There's the villain regen per hit landed blocked. We'll show also that scary fight in its entirety. The global node, he regens 4% max health per hit. I landed and 2% per hit I blocked, parry included. And I think, as I said, it's impossible to get him down in 3 minutes. And that would stand for every champ with a villain tag that's placed. Max Sig rank 5 Omega would probably be the only way to one-shot that. Mind you, he also had full suicides and full rainbow boost, as he called it, with both an attack 20%, health 25%, and a plus 30% attack and health on top of that. Very, very expensive boosts, as you can see. The map is also very energy hungry. Masters would require 3 sets of boosts per war. And so I asked, what are your solutions / suggestions? Because make no mistake about it. Even though I can be critical, and some would say too critical, of Kabam, I do want this game to continue going. I still really enjoy playing it. The best part of this is the community aspect, and I don't want the community to die. I've made so many friends, and my YouTube channel is at its best when I get to help grow the community, not make it shrink. But at the same time, if I see a moving train coming full force on the train tracks at what feels like some unsuspecting summoners who are going to jump into this new Alliance War season and just get slammed like never before, I feel compelled to actually talk about it before it happens, and that is the nature of this video you are watching now. So, his suggestions: drop the global nodes entirely. The map difficulty has increased, yes, but with the global nodes, it's a power flex by Kabam for it is to be a money grab and ensure wars aren't 100%. So I said, so keep the new map, just lose the global nodes. Reduced energy time also if move count stays the same. There's self-linked fights like on map 7 also, and that's absolutely bogus. I suggested maybe making the energy time to 30 minutes, as I've said in past videos, or max energy to 7 instead of 5. He voted for the 30-minute option. The time required to clear would go up if max energy was just raised and not having the time altered. Great point. Got another fight we'll go into. And now we're going to talk about, on that fight, just how the size of defenders, especially the small size, makes defenders like Miles Morales god tier. And if Miles wasn't squirrely enough as is, all small-sized defenders get that evade power flood. We'll talk about that. Imagine Domino with that evade on safeguard and regen. This is a fight from Cobbs. We'll go into that. And then some alliance mates basically just said, think back to when Kabam said they wouldn't or didn't want to make situations where you had to have a certain champ to clear something. This is precisely what they're doing. Size, small map, Corvus, Killmonger, Spider-Gwen, anyone with full-time True Strike capability. But the Metal Defender map is 100% anti-Corvus. We'll get into that. And the best part is that the opponent picks the global buff. Of course, best part being sarcasm. So you have no idea what you're getting before you get it. It'll force alliances to switch up lanes and stuff every war. He will never play a tier 1 to 3 war again if these go live. And this is coming from somebody who is used to this kind of difficulty. Milking the whales with Cavalier Crystals is one thing. Milking this bad to just fight a war with a horribly outdated potion system. And I made a point. Yep. Potions are made for 3 and 4 stars, not 6 stars. He added on Void Boosted needs 9 level 4 potions to fill up after being revived. A rank 5 Void that is 55,000 health, Rainbow Boosted. And so he had a screenshot of this. Look at that regen from one blocked hit, 8,652. That should pretty much do it. Okay, so now let's scroll back up to the top and talk a bit about the specific videos that he has sent along. Now, I will say, a lot of the new map is stuff that you will likely recognize from the old map, meaning a lot of the nodes have been repeated, things like specials and certain aspects like that. So it's not like it's entirely a new system that's bad. You know, you can see in this map, if we scroll through it, they have added things like long distance relationship. When I saw the Act 6 nodes, I thought to myself, yep, all of these things will be permanently introduced into Alliance War, no doubt. It's going to just make it suck. And make no mistake about it, I hate Alliance War as is. I think it is a terrible, outdated system that the difficulty does not justify the rewards. I know a few people who love it, but most people at best tolerate it and just look at it as a necessity to get loyalty and 5-star shards and 6-star shards and 4-star shards if that's applicable to you. But it's not anything that I know from too many people that they have a ton of fun with. And my dream scenario, as I've said for months now, is to somehow have the loyalty needed to have an Alliance Quest only alliance. Because when I think about never having to fight an Alliance War ever again, I get really happy. And that's kind of sad, right? Like, it's kind of sad that it's gotten so stressful that it's actually more exciting to just never go into one again than it is to think about the future of the content. So there are some examples of some of the nodes that you would see in this top tier. We are going to move on to the second part of this video because I want to make this video long enough to cover topics but not be so verbose that it loses its impact. So yeah, special 2 bias, special 1 bias. You've seen all of this before. Redoubled determination can be tough. Strike back, we know. We have seen that before. So a lot of this, like I said, is pretty much we're used to it. Now, nodes that you have like 25 seconds before anything is active is tough when, of course, you only have a 3-minute fight. Now, Safeguard sucks. And needless to say, there are only certain champions that can get around that. Throw on a Medusa on that node and watch the opponent's kills skyrocket. Then everyone's favorite, Starburst. Oh, it's just like the greatest hits of PTSD Alliance War Edition. That's how I would describe this. And I'm not trying to be overly critical. I want this game to continue to grow, but I see this as that 100-mile-per-hour train going smack dab for so many unsuspecting summoners if they don't think that this was hard enough. And part of the reason why Alliance War works right now is that you have people, especially at the top, who have assigned paths, who rank up certain champions to fight the nodes on those paths. And with the global nodes, that changes every war. And we still don't have nearly the capacity for rank up resources necessary. And because rank down tickets are a thing of the past, it's not like you can change your rank ups between Alliance Wars. You're just screwed. And as I already covered in this video, thanks to Dax feedback as well, when you don't have the ability to potion up 6 stars without spending thousands of units per war, you're really forced to either take KOs or just spend a ton of units that you really wish you didn't have to. So it is a money-making scheme unlike anything we have seen. Now, get to some of the fights of this. So Alliance War defensive tactics. Axemen and Mercenary Defenders gain plus 50% attack during special attacks. Defense tactics. This is the one that we're going to look at some specific defenses on. Small defenders have a 15% chance to evade, and don't we know that 15% chance can sometimes feel like 100% depending on what fight you're in. And then when they evade an attack, they also gain 40% of a power bar. So pretty crazy. And then let's talk about the villain defenders recover 4% of their max health when each landed strike and recover 2% max health with each blocked strike. So you better believe that Mr. Sinister is the top defensive nightmare on that node. So, or on the global node, I should say. So those are some of the tactics we have talked about. Now you can see it's selecting a quest, and this is kind of what the beta looked like. But without further ado, let's look at what used to be a picture-perfect, I don't know if easy is the right word, but certainly not difficult fight. A 19,000 full suicide Stark Enhanced Spider-Man against a 22,930 PI'd Rhino. Now, of course, you have to worry about the intercepting being unblockable, but in general, for most nodes, I would say this is more a diversity fight than a fight that's made for difficulty. Not anymore with this new lab. So let's watch this fight and just kind of check out what happens. So we have the normal, and keep in mind he is trying to use poise charges, and every time he is evading back for poise charges, he is gaining 40% of a power bar. So getting to a special 3 for Rhino is so dang quick. Max health turns into 26% health. Thankfully, with the 10 poise charges, he is able to at least get off a special 3 that almost kills Rhino, down to 31% health before the final animation, down to 20%. But every time, oh, look, unblockable, intercept, and he's down, taking a lot of block damage. Rhino, all of a sudden, becomes a much better defender, which I guess is a good thing in that way, but a bad thing if you are caring about attack. Let's talk about the Mr. Sinister fight. Either way, Mr. Sinister and MODOK, not nodes you'd be especially excited to fight. But let's look at this Mr. Sinister and just notice. Now, I know that there's going to be a class disadvantage on this because he is bringing in Blade. Keep in mind, Ghost Rider is part of his synergy team, so the Danger Sense is active with the villain tag. But it's really not going to matter. You see the Danger Sense on the left. It's a full Suicide's Blade. And because of the specific node, of course, making it impossible to cause damage except for specials, you're just waiting for that 3-minute timer to run out. So check this out. Fires the special 2, full Suicides, does 10% damage. And so it is just a full nightmare to have anything tick down on health below just a very minimal amount of damage cost. So we have time for a special 2 again. And oh look, Mr. Sinister is still at 81% health. And he's regenerating health every second. Back to 90%. This is, again, a thing out of my nightmares. So Mr. Sinister's health is not going down at all. Keep in mind, we don't normally have the timer on this that we would have had in the 3 minutes. So good luck spending 3 minutes to time out on a fight in which you get maybe 13% of health down. That could easily be regenerated, of course, when you go back in again. This is the kind of fight that caused Dak, along with several other alliance mates, to item out and still not get the defender down. Now he's back to 96% health, 98% health. It's like he has never fought him, and of course Blade is down to 18% health. The full Suicides with the attack don't matter, and he's got the special 2 now, which will cause him to have some unfortunate recoil damage. But you're seeing how many hits it's taking just to get to 74% health. This fight is long over at this point. Thankfully, it's the beta. But normally, no chance. Mr. Sinister is just a potion and revive killer, and he has now died from the special. Yikes. KO on 122 successful hits and 4 received. Got the rainbow boost going just to show how strong his champions were in that fight. It's not like he was bringing in some bad. Now let's look at Miles Morales and this new defensive tactics dodge 2, as he is a small champion, and his evade, which is always really, really annoying, becomes almost like OG Spider-Man on steroids. You can just see how hard it is to land a single hit. It's like he's invisible, only he's not. So trying to get those poise charges up. At least he's up to 9. He does land some hits there, which is pretty exciting. Gets the parry going. That would certainly be my strategy on this node. But again, you can't land a hit, and so you're going to have to play incredibly defensive on this node. If you don't have a parry in, forget trying to land a special one. And then you have that evade power flood combo going on every time he evades. At least he's able to get off that special 2. But watch for the combo meter, because, of course, you're going to get wrecked. And eventually he is just going to barely win the fight. So not all KOs, but still a nightmare of a fight. Now we have just kind of showing you some defensive strategy, if you will, of what some of the nodes would look like. Domino Double Magic, everyone's favorite. To look at what looks like to be a pretty standard Medusa boss fight, except for one major difference. And he's doing good work. This looks like what you would see from a rank 5, 65 suicided up Domino. But there are a couple of things that cause this fight to be much more difficult than it is in the previous rendition of Alliance War, and we're going to see it very soon. Again, right now, standard fight, just what we kind of expect. But that evade power flood wrecks him. And keep in mind, this is a max 5-star Awakened Domino. So if you got that evade power flood from most of your other regular attackers, especially without the quote-unquote rainbow boost, that one combo just KOs you. You don't have a chance to get anything back, unlike this guy. But still, fighting pretty well. Has a chance for a one-shot. Great intercept there. And yet, you get that evade power flood, and the chance of now trying to stay alive with that second evade power flood makes it difficult. KO. Not impossible by any means, but just way more than before. Now, this is circled because Metal Defenders, this whole metal node tactic, is the Corvus killer. It is made to 100% nerf Corvus to the ground in Alliance War on certain paths. And Metal Defenders are immune to armor break debuffs. Whenever a Metal Defender loses more than 4% of their max health from a single strike, they gain an indestructible buff for 5 seconds. This ability goes on cooldown when indestructible buff expires for 5 seconds. And then we have a screenshot of the health regen of this 64,000 PI'd 5-star Awakened Dormammu. Boy, as if you really loved fighting Dormammu already, right? And then we have just a couple more global nodes that weren't able to be covered that are still difficult, still wreaking havoc, as I like to say, with this defender. And then also Dormammu. Critical strikes against controlled defenders grant power flood, causing them to gain 5% of their max power over 10 seconds. And so there you have it. I am not trying to make this video to be some huge scare tactic that the game is coming to an end, we should all quit. No, that's the opposite of my goal. But I do see this as inevitable to say this is not worth it, especially for those of you who Kabam is trying to gain your units and, dare I say, even your wallet the most in Master and Platinum. Until Kabam does a number of changes to Alliance War, including making the potions percentage-based, which has been a demand for far too long, and they still have had that fall on deaf ears. And until the energy changes, especially for those of you who are looking to do this on Master, make it to where we have 30-minute counters, which also, if you're going to be crazy stressed about Alliance War, Alliance Quest is going to become even more stressful. So 30-minute timers, I've said this for years now, are a solution to also making sure that you're actually having a life outside of this game. And even though Kabam wants you to spend all of your time away from your family and friends for this, it's really going to hurt even more so the mental health of the average summoner. So Dak, thank you so much for sending all of this information to me. I have done my best. I know it's a longer video than normal to kind of compile the data and present the videos and conversation to where it makes sense and you can kind of draw your own conclusions if you agree or disagree. I do think that, as always, when it comes to these changes, those who will be affected the most are actually those at both the top and the middle. And so I'm curious to hear your feedback if you're watching this on what you think this will do to your own alliance. Personally, I already hate Alliance War. I think it is a necessary evil for loyalty and a small amount of shards. But the Alliance War crystals are one of the worst things now in the game because you have a random number generator just determining whether or not you get a certain percentage of Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst fragments. I saw a couple of top 20 master openings when it comes to Tier 2 Alphas in the Alliance War crystals, and it was so funny. I had one guy in Silver 3 who sent me, I think it was Silver 3, it was either Silver 3 or Silver 1, sent me their one Alliance War crystal, maybe it was Silver 1, got more Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst fragments than the guy on Master, just because the RNG of those crystals happened to not be with him and happened to really be with the guy who pulled the 36,000 or the equivalent of a fully formed Tier 2 Alpha from one Alliance War crystal. So Alliance War is about to get much, much harder, and I think it's already been the worst thing to happen to the game collectively. It has made so many great players, including great YouTubers who I greatly respect and admire, quit. And so I just have to say, take out the global nodes for starters, make it to where the map difficulty should be a trial test with no global nodes, and also make those energy timers 30 minutes instead of an hour. And if Kabam won't do that, at least make the maximum energy now 7 hours, because then guess what? You can get a full 7 hours of sleep, which is what's recommended for human beings, and not actually hurt yourself for maxing out on energy after 5 hours. Just some feedback and thoughts for you. I'd love to hear your feedback and thoughts as always. And for a final time, thanks again to Dak for making this video possible, and to all his alliance mates for contributing their feedback from the beta test as well.